Bro, I had the craziest angel story. So I'm sitting with this couple at their house, and I was there for probably 2 hours. An hour of that is just us talking about Jesus. It was so beautiful. And she tells me this story. This couple is in their late 70s, and this is 5 years ago. She's sitting at the table writing out these sympathy cards for people that have just died, and her husband's in the living room eating a big bowl of ice cream and starts making some weird noises, and she just looks and goes, boy, that must be some good ice cream. And then he made a noise she had never heard him make before, and he had a heart attack and died. I mean, she walked over there. He was dead. Called the 911. They came out to the house. The firemen came in. They're moving furniture around. They start giving him CPR. They bring him back to life to revive him. And I looked at him, and I was like, what was going through your mind when you came back to life? He goes, I had no idea what the hell was going on. There was people everywhere staring at me. And he goes, it was the weirdest, most surreal moment. But they end up taking him to the hospital. She's there with the hospital till like 3:30 in the morning. Comes back home to go to bed and is going to go back in the morning. Gets up early that morning. And now she was going through breast cancer treatments at the time. And she calls in just to check before she goes up there. And this nurse answers the phone and goes, ma'am, Mrs. Morgan, she just said, I'm so glad that you called. Your husband has been so worried about you this morning. She goes, worried about what? You have that follow-up surgery this morning. We're then to go back in and make sure they got all the tumor out of your breast. And she goes, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about that this morning with everything that's going on. And she goes, your husband wanted me to tell you, just go. He's fine here. Go take care of your procedure. Then as soon as you're done, come back and you'll be fine here. And she just goes, oh my goodness, I would have missed that. Thank you so much. She goes, what's your name? She goes, my name's Darla. Just know that I'm here with him, taking care of him. Your husband's fine. She goes to her appointment. Later that afternoon, comes back to the hospital, walks in, sees her husband, and goes, man, that was just, I would have totally missed that appointment. Thank you so much for just being concerned about me. And he goes, what are you talking about? She goes, this morning when I called in, you were worried about me because I was going to miss my appointment for my follow-up. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So she goes out to the front desk to the head nurse and goes, hey, I'm a little bit confused here. When I called in this morning, they told me my husband was worried about me, and Nurse Darla said that everything was fine, and the nurse goes, we don't have a Nurse Darla that works here. And she just stares at me now, and she goes, what do you do with that? And I go, sounds like an angel to me. And she goes, well, then I'm going to need you to help me with this next part. 5 years later, couple that they're friends with, he has a heart attack. And they go to the hospital. They go meet him up in this room, and there's several of them in the room. And the head nurse comes in and goes, hey, there's way too many of you guys in here right now. Some of you guys are going to need to go out to the lobby. So the four of them that are in there come walking out. And the lady whose husband had the heart attack priorly, as she's walking in the room, she looks up and realizes they're in the same room her husband was in when he had his heart attack and was at that hospital. Same hospital, same room. So they're out in the lobby, and she starts telling her the story, her friends the story about 5 years earlier. They're there, and this nurse, Darla, how she had told him, her husband was worried, and there's no Darla that works there. She said maybe 15 minutes went by, and the lady that was in the room, whose husband's currently had a heart attack, comes walking out and just is furious. So this lady approaches her and goes, honey, what's going on? She goes, we got to get out of this hospital. She goes, last night, some nurse came into my husband's room and told him that he was going to die. And she goes, that sounds like something a nurse wouldn't do. She goes, if I find out who this Nurse Darla is, she's going to get it from me. So she was walking back up to the front desk. She goes, hey, do you have a Nurse Darla that works here? They're like, there's never been a Nurse Darla that works here. And so now she looks at me and she goes, what do you do with that? I was like, did this other guy die? She said, yeah. So was he a believer? She's like, they went to church, but there was nothing about his life that you would remotely assume that he was a follower of Christ. And I just said, well, maybe that was a last opportunity for him to repent and give his life to Jesus. Anytime I hear these stories like this, it's, what do you say to it? I don't have all the answers for that, but anytime I hear them, it's just a reminder to me that God is still in this world. We know that angels are in the world. We know that there's a supernatural and a spiritual thing that's going on. We know spiritual warfare is real. And it just is this reminder to me just of how amazing our God is, that he'll intervene at times because he loves us and he desires us. But man, when she told me that story, it had me floored for a couple days, just on edge thinking about what had happened.
I guess the first thing I think of, it's a super interesting and compelling story, first off. But I like I like your response. I think that is an honest response, which is, gosh, I don't know. Because I don't think we're going to know everything this side of heaven. I don't know why God either does or does not intercede on anyone's behalf. That's completely his option. He has a purpose for all things, I'm told, and that's how I understand it to be. And I like that you didn't just give her some stuff that you didn't know about. You didn't just facilitate your agenda into her questions. And that's important. I think that if we're going to be honest men of God, we have to be honest when we don't know something. And if she had more curiosity to it, it sounds like she's a woman of faith. So she's maybe sought it out on her own, or if she has a compelling interest in it, she can continue to seek it out on her own accord. And if you come up with something that is a better analysis, or if you're able to remember it later and ask somebody else who has deep understanding of angels and demons theology, then maybe you bring it up to them and you call her back.
Yeah.
But I love the idea that you just said, I don't know. And here's some interesting things that I initially think of, but none of these are the have-all and end-all of this discussion. That's important. We have to be able to recognize that we're not going to have all the answers all the time. And it is cool to hear these stories.
Yeah.
There's many beautiful stories where God intercedes. He certainly did in my life, removing my compulsion to drink. I mean, that is a miracle in my life.
Yeah.
I've seen other slight miracles that have happened, and I've heard many incredible miracles. It's not my decision to say if they're valid or invalid or what. When people bring something like that to me, it's an enjoyable conversation to have. It's super interesting to hear. It is something that resonates with me, and I can pray about it and I can contemplate it. But I don't think we ever have the full answer on that thing. I'm glad that you said that.
Thanks, man. I think that's what makes this Christianity thing works the best, is when somebody asks a question, if you can just be honest, I'm not going to pretend like I have all the answers either. But maybe I know somebody does, and I'll be more than happy to look into it and find it for you. Because I think it's just in that honest conversation with people will respect that. The problem is if I try to formulate some answer that's not a real answer, and somebody goes looking, they can find out I'm lying. Or find out that I'm just trying to stretch the truth to fit my narrative.
Yeah.
And then it becomes...
And that's gross.
It is, because then it becomes, well, what else did you do that on?
Sure.
And now everything I say to you going forward, I feel like I always got to double check all your work, like I can't trust you. So it's just better in the long run if I can build trust with somebody if I just am honest and say, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, and feel them out for what kind of follow-up you need to have.
For sure.
Yeah, cool.